let's make some macrame. Okay, so I bought this macrame kit quite a while ago. It's essentially to make up to free delivery on an order for something else. But we're going to have a go. So let's open up and see what we've got in here. So we've got the cording. We've got the dowel. And crucially, we've got instructions. I have had a peek through these already. Just want a little bit curved because they've been in and out of the box a couple of times. So it's everything that I need for this project. So I'm going to have a go at making it up and take you along for the ride. I'm not going to give you the counts for the number of knots and what have you because it's in the instructions. You can get it yourself. But I will show you how I work the knots. Not that I'm massively experienced in macrame. This is my second macrame project ever, and the last one was quite a while ago. But yeah, we'll give it a go. So why this kit? Well, as I say, I was trying to make up cost for free delivery for an order, and this was on sale, so it made sense. But also this colour cording will match the colour of the cording on the last macrame project that I did, which is currently hanging in the kitchen. It also didn't look too daunting. It's a fairly small wall hanging, so felt like it was manageable. And yeah, felt like I wanted to have another go. So we'll do that. I think first step is working out how many lengths and how long I need of the cording. So I'll check the instructions, get the lengths cut, and then we'll take a look at the first knot. Partly because if I show you the knots, I've got a resource that I can look back at next time I do a macrame project. I do want to eventually do quite a large macrame wall hanging, maybe to go over the bed or something, or backdrop in the craft room. It'll probably be the craft room, to be fair. My husband his inclination is towards minimalism when it comes to interior design. My inclination to in interior design is not towards minimalism. Won't go so far as to say maximalist. I like cozy. Macrame stuff fits in with cozy, but I obviously can't put it everywhere in the house because that wouldn't be fair to the husband. Okay, so I'm going to go and cut this cord, and yeah, we'll take a look at how we get on. Okay, so I've cut my strands. Although I've got 2 fewer than the pattern says, but I've only got that much left, and I'm not going to get another 2 out of that because that's shorter than one of the strands. So either I've measured inaccurately, which I don't think is the case because I measured the first one and then measured them all off that, or the yardage wasn't quite enough in the cordage. Based on the experience I had with the previous kit, they do tend to tell you to cut longer lengths than you need and you end up trimming them off, but not being experienced enough at macrame, don't want to risk cutting them shorter. So, because I still have an even number and the pattern needs an even number, I should be alright with adapting it and just do 2 fewer strands. But the first step is to start attaching the strands to the dowel using the Larks head knot. So I'm going to start doing that. When I've got a few on, I will come back and show you how I'm doing it, so I can have a bit of a practice first. Okay, so here we have 2 Larks head knots. I'm trying to keep them fairly central to the doweling. I'll just make sure I've got the same amount on either end when I've got them all on. So to make the Larks head knot, you take 1 length of cord and fold it in half, so checking the ends are even. You put the loopy bit around the back of the dowel, and then you're going to pull the dangly bits through. You want to make sure that everything is sitting straight and they're not twisting around each other. I'll check the ends are even later, because you can always shuffle it around a bit to even up if you need to. So I'll do that again. So we take a cord that is in half, and we take the loopy bit around the back of the doweling and pull the dangly bits through and tighten it up. So that's our lark's head knot. So I'm going to keep doing that until I've got all of my cording attached, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm working some right hand square knots now. So these are worked over 4 strands, and because the strands are quite long and because the dowel isn't anchored down, it's a little bit on the awkward side, so I may have to reposition in a bit so that the dowel doesn't slide around all over the place. So we are working the 2 outer strands around the 2 middle strands. So the first thing we do is take the right hand cord over the 2 and under the left hand cord. Then we take the left hand cord over the one that we've taken over already, under the 2 and through the loop left on the right. I'm just going to move that up a little bit to get it up positioned where I want it to be. I mean, you can do this after the next step if you want. I'm just doing it now. So then we take what is now on the left hand over the middle 2 and under the one that is on the right. So the right then goes under the 2 and up through the loop. You can see why I'm thinking about repositioning, because this dowel is just moving all over the place and probably playing havoc with the focus. Okay, so when that tightened up to there, move those strands out the way. We're going to do the same with the last 4. So again, we're working with the outer 2. We take the right hand one over the 2 and under the left. Take the left hand one under the 2 up through the loop. So they're crossing over that way. Just going to leave that there for the moment so you can see what's going on. We take the one that's now on the left over the 2 and under the one that's on the right. Take the one on the right under the 2 and up through the loop. So if I pull those 2 bits there, bring that up to the top, and if I pull the ends of the outside 2, they'll come up to meet it. So that is the right hand square knot. So I'm going to reposition so that I've got the dowel anchored to something, don't know what. And I'll check the footage, see if it's in focus enough for you to see what I'm doing. Okay, it's a slightly kooky angle, but hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing a bit better. Here, I've got the doweling tied onto the back of a chair. Obviously that means I am then shooting towards the window and the TV. And it's not perfectly straight, but hey, needs must. Okay, so right hand square knot, working over 4 strands. We're going around the 2 central strands. So we take the right hand strand over the 2 and under the one on the left. We take the left hand strand under the 2, knock the camera and go up through the loop. So I'm just going to pull those up there so we can see where they're going to sit. Make sure the 2 in the middle are straight. Then we take the one that is now on the left over the 2 and the one that is now on the right. Take the one on the right under the 2 and through the loop. And then we're going to tighten that up to meet the previous move. So I'll show you that again. over the 2, under the 1, under the 2, through the loop, over the 2, under the 1, under the 2, through the loop, and then we can tighten it up, making sure that our 2 in the middle stay the same way around. There we have the right hand square knot. Okay, so now that all the knotting is done, this bit is a bit shorter than the pattern called for, and overall it's probably a little bit shorter because I had 2 strands less. But now that it's all knotted, we need to do the finishing touches. So we need to cut the cords to length and tie a knot at the end. So the pattern gets you to start with this cord, cut it to length, and then tie a knot in the end. So we're going to do that, but what I think I'm going to do is tie a knot first and then cut it. So I think that's going to be better. Then we're going to cut all the rest of them to create a roughly straight line from the length of this one. So it's using an overhand knot, which is your basic knot. See how we are for length. That should be just under the measurement they gave. Yeah, so I'm going to cut it there. So we're going to do the same all the way across these cords so that we get a relatively straight line across the bottom. For me, I think it's just easier to knot first, cut after, in terms of positioning where you want the knot to be. I'm not being too precise and exact about it. You know, I'm knotting at weird angles and we're still on a bit of a diagonal at the top. So if they're not exactly in a straight line, I'm okay with that. It's all part of being handmade. So I'm going to go all the way across and then we'll trim these ends off. So there we have our finished piece. It's relatively even. I'm pretty pleased with how that's turned out at the bottom there. So this whole piece has been done with essentially 3 knots. Well, 2 main knots and 3 when you count the overhand knot at the end, which I think is just to stop the cords from unravelling too far. So we've used the Larks head knot at the top and the right hand square knot throughout the rest of it. So it's a fairly simple beginner project. All the main knotting was done in an afternoon. I could have finished it then, but I decided to just leave it for another day because I can. So yeah, all I need to do now is find a home for that and work out which macrame project I want to do next. There's a lot of things I could do. So yeah, quite enjoyable, fairly simple, a nice sort of brain break for some of the more complicated projects I've got going on. So yeah, highly recommend. So thank you for spending some time with me today. I hope to see you in my next video. There's this one here to keep you going while you're waiting, and I hope to see you next time. But until then, happy crafting and bye-bye for now.